Don't tell my father I used it!
Oh, God! Please don't! No!
Royal guards broke direct palace orders after Prince Louis secretly used one of Princess Diana's old emergency signals to ask for help inside Windsor Hall. And according to one former palace employee, Prince William reportedly had no idea Louis even knew the signal existed. The incident began late on a stormy Thursday night inside Windsor Hall. Most of the royal family had already returned upstairs after a private charity dinner, attended by senior royal advisors and security officials. Publicly, everything looked normal. But according to palace staff, the atmosphere inside Windsor Hall had been tense for days. Charlotte barely spoke during meals. George had stopped attending several palace meetings entirely. And Louis, normally the most energetic among them, had become strangely quiet, especially around William. At first, nobody thought much of it. Until shortly after midnight. According to palace security logs, one of the older emergency systems suddenly activated beneath the east wing. 3 short pulses. Pause. Then 2 more. Several older royal guards reportedly froze the moment they heard it, because decades earlier, Princess Diana herself had once used the exact same signal during private palace emergencies, when she believed she was no longer safe inside Windsor Hall. Officially, the signal no longer existed, which meant somebody had deliberately activated it. Oliver Grant immediately responded alongside the senior guards. At first, Grant assumed it was a malfunction caused by the storm. Until the signal repeated again. 3 pulses. Pause. 2 pulses. Then silence. One elderly guard reportedly whispered, "Immediately, that's Diana's code." Grant turned toward him slowly. "What?" But before the man could answer, the signal activated one final time. From beneath the old servant corridors. That was when Grant realized something terrifying. Someone was manually triggering it from inside the palace. The guards followed the signal through several abandoned lower hallways rarely used anymore. And according to palace insiders, that was where they found Prince Louis. Alone. Shaking, standing beside an old emergency panel hidden behind a service wall. The young prince reportedly looked terrified when he saw the guards arrive, then immediately whispered, "You can't tell my father I used it." Grant crouched beside him instantly. "Louis, what happened?" At first, the prince refused to answer. Instead, he grabbed Grant's sleeve tightly and whispered, "She's gone." Grant's expression changed immediately. Who? Louis looked close to tears now. Charlotte. According to internal palace reports, Charlotte had last been seen returning toward her private floor after a closed-door argument with William nearly 40 minutes earlier. But nobody realized she was missing because several East Wing cameras had suddenly gone offline during the storm. Grant immediately contacted upper security. And that was when everything became worse, because according to palace records, Prince William personally ordered all guards to stand down. No lockdown. No emergency search. No public alert. Several guards reportedly stared at each other in disbelief, especially after Grant informed William directly that Louis had activated Diana's emergency signal. But according to one palace servant, William became angry instead of concerned. "Deactivate the search teams immediately." Grant reportedly couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Your Royal Highness, Charlotte is missing." William's response allegedly shocked everyone inside the security office. "She's exactly where she needs to be." Silence, several older guards later admitted. That was the moment they realized something inside Windsor Hall was deeply wrong. Because William didn't sound worried. He sounded prepared. Then came the moment nobody expected. Oliver Grant slowly removed his earpiece, looked directly at the other guards, and quietly said, "We're searching anyway." According to palace insiders, it was the first time in years royal guards openly ignored a direct order from the future king. But nobody stopped him, because several older guards had already recognized what Louis had done. Diana's signal had only ever been used when someone inside the palace no longer trusted the people above them, including the crown itself. The guards followed Louis deep beneath Windsor Hall through abandoned service tunnels, connected to Diana's old private wing, and according to witnesses, Louis led them there without hesitation. As if Charlotte had shown him the corridors long ago. Then suddenly, Louis stopped outside a locked archive room. His hands were shaking uncontrollably now. "She's inside." Grant forced the door open, and what they discovered reportedly changed Windsor Hall forever. Charlotte was sitting alone on the floor, surrounded by scattered palace documents and partially burned files, crying silently. Beside her sat a thick folder labeled Diana Internal. Response: according to Oliver Grant, Charlotte looked emotionally destroyed. But when she finally looked up at the guards, she whispered something that reportedly made several of them go pale instantly. He knew she tried to warn us. Grant stepped closer carefully. Who? Charlotte slowly looked toward the file beside her. Then answered, my father. The room reportedly fell completely silent, but before anyone could speak again, footsteps suddenly echoed from the corridor behind them. Prince William. Several guards instinctively turned immediately. William's face looked exhausted, cold, controlled. But according to witnesses, the moment he saw Charlotte holding Diana's file, his expression changed completely. Give me the folder. Charlotte didn't move. William stepped forward again. Charlotte. But this time, Oliver Grant moved first and quietly stood between them. The entire room reportedly froze, because nobody inside Windsor Hall had ever seen a royal guard physically block William before. William stared directly at Grant. That was an order. Grant's voice remained calm, with respect. Sir, not tonight. Silence. Heavy rain echoed through the tunnels outside. Then suddenly, Louis stepped beside Charlotte and grabbed her hand tightly. And according to one guard standing near the doorway, the young prince looked directly at William and whispered, she said this would happen one day. William froze instantly. What? Louis' voice trembled now. Diana. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Then Louis slowly pointed toward the emergency panel behind them. She taught me the signal herself. Several older guards reportedly looked visibly shaken hearing that sentence, because Diana died years before Louis should have even known the code existed. William looked horrified now, but Charlotte slowly opened the folder anyway. Inside were old palace reports, security memos, handwritten warnings from Diana herself, and clipped to the final page was a sealed statement carrying William's signature. Charlotte stared at it for several seconds before finally whispering, you knew. William said nothing. Charlotte's voice broke completely now. You knew what they did to her. Still, William said nothing. Then came the moment nobody inside Windsor Hall ever forgot. Charlotte slowly stood up holding the file against her chest, tears streaming down her face, and quietly said, she wasn't trying to protect herself from the palace. Pause. She was trying to protect us from becoming it. Even several guards reportedly looked emotional hearing that sentence. Then Louis suddenly stepped forward beside Charlotte and whispered something that completely shattered the room. That's why she made me memorize the signal. William reportedly looked like he had just stopped breathing. And according to Oliver Grant, for the first time in his entire life, the future king looked afraid of his own children. Charlotte slowly handed the folder to Grant. Protect this. Then looked directly at William one final time. You spent years protecting Windsor Hall. Pause. But nobody protected her. And according to palace insiders, that was the exact moment every guard inside the room realized something irreversible had just happened. Because for the first time in years, the children of Windsor Hall were no longer afraid of the crown. The crown had become afraid of them. If you enjoyed this emotional royal mystery story, leave your theories below. What do you think Diana was trying to warn her children about? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more hidden palace secrets, emotional betrayals, and Windsor Hall royal drama.